Welcome to Town Talk, the official podcast of the town of Stephenville, where community conversations happen. I'm Marilee Joy Castillo, communications manager at the town. This podcast takes place in the chamber of Town Hall, where we share updates, ideas, and information about what's happening in our community. So joining me today is Lenny Tiller, and Lenny is a candidate for councillor in the upcoming municipal election. Welcome.
Thank you, Marilee. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks, Lenny. So first of all, before we get into our questions, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Lenny Tiller. I've been born and raised in Stephenville. Lived in Point Mall for a little bit. Graduated high school in Stephenville. Graduated college twice in Stephenville. Spent 5 years in Fort McMurray, working in different sectors in the oil field and finance, retail management. Managed a curling club for a little while. And actually managed my own mobile truck for Marksburg Warehouse at one point. And in 2017, I moved home and I went to college and graduated from community studies. So I hold a business diploma, a community studies diploma. With the sole intention of going back to Alberta, life had a different plan for me.
Okay.
And I got a job working with the Newfoundland school system as a teaching and learning assistant, and I fell in love and got to, the rest is basically history. And dealing with family stuff kind of kept me here, but I'm over the moon to be here and to be sitting here today with you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And why don't you tell us, Lenny, what has motivated you to run for council this time?
I think the town really needs to get back to basics, whether it becomes transparency, reestablishing regional relationships with our residents, and just really instilling a confidence in this town that we used to have. I mean, you think of the days of the old Jets in the mill, we were so proud. And to this day, we have the most resilient and proud residents we have. I think since COVID, we've lost some of that, and we've had some economic hard times since then, some big promises that haven't come to fruition. And I'd like to get on council and just bring it back to basics for the next 4 to 8 years. Let's take care of our roads, our water, our sewer, our recreation, any money that's above and beyond that. We tackle projects on an as-need basis, hopefully get a splash pad put in this town once and for all for our kids.
Yeah.
And just families. And a community can't grow without younger families. And right now, I think that's what we're lacking. We're doing a good job of taking care of our seniors in this town. Provincial government, on the other hand, is something different. But we're doing a good job here, but we're really lacking on the family portion. And I'm basically running for families and accessibility and just back to basics. And that's my motivation every day.
So, Lenny, what do you see as the top issue in Stephenville right now? Or one of the issues?
I think the top issue right now is just reestablishing trust with the residents. Letting residents know they can trust what's coming from Town Hall, trust that their council has their back, and just be there and reestablishing, like I said, regional relationships. Right now, it's my opinion, we are teetering on the breaking point with municipalities that are around us when we need them, because we do not exist as a sole source of Stephenville. We exist with the collective. And if it was just us alone, we wouldn't be in the position we're in. We would be in we would be in a position where we would find ourselves with less money, less resources. So we need to reestablish relationships is the first priority of all.
Well, actually, that's kind of one of my questions I have here today. So I'll go into that one now. Do you see opportunities for more regional collaboration with surrounding communities throughout Bay St. George?
Absolutely. I was never a fan of the plan the provincial government put forward a couple of years ago to try to force this on residents. That could never work. It would lead to too much animosity. But I think through shared service agreements and finding ways to work together collectively on projects, whether it's asset management, whether it's water, sewer, regional fire departments, we are in a very unique situation in Bay St. George. We have a small density of people in a large area with 7 or 8 different municipalities, all within about 45 minutes of each other. We have to find a way to keep our community pride, but also find a way to work together. And I think if I get elected to council, one of the first things I'd like to call for is the reestablishment of the Bay St. George Joint Council. And just have everybody at the table and see what the struggles are, because we are more of a force in St. John's and Ottawa talking as a collective than we are as 8 different municipalities and LSDs in the area.
For sure. How will you make sure that the voices of residents are heard around the council table?
Open and honest. If you call me with an issue or email me with an issue, it'll be brought up at council. Whether I agree with you or disagree with you, once I am at this table, I'm here to work for any resident. Whether you vote for me or don't vote for me, it's irrelevant after October 2nd. If my name has councillor in front of it, I am representing everybody in this town. So it doesn't matter if the issue is big, small, it'll be brought up, because something that might be small to me might be the end of the world for that person.
Excellent. So what qualities or experiences do you bring that would make you an effective counselor?
Well, I've been here before. I spent 2.5 years on council before, and I advocated strongly for the beliefs I felt, the beliefs that and the beliefs that people told me were their own beliefs, and the concerns they had. I have been on numerous boards. I mean, I was vice president of Stephenville Lions Club for a while. I'm currently the register with minor hockey. I am the president of the curling club. I deal with children full-time on a daily basis, which gives me a unique insight into children and their family lives and how things go and the daily struggles that they face. And listen, I came from nothing. I was the boy who started his life on Montana Drive with a single mom and a dad in a wheelchair and had to rely on social assistance and my grandparents. So I am just the everyday person who started life in probably the most difficult circumstances, but I'm here.
Excellent. What's your approach, do you think, to encouraging small business growth here in our community?
Let them feel heard and cut them some slack. So we all know the first 3 to 5 years of business is probably your toughest and your leanest years you're going to have. If we are in the financial position as a town to take something off their business tax or a little bit off their mill rate, let's do it. If you're willing to hire local at wages that are higher than minimum wage, let's see what we can do and take strong leadership to make sure you can succeed in this town. Another thing I would like to see is sometimes our smaller businesses get forced out of the market by big conglomerates. So I would like to see the council establish, especially if we don't have the resources around the table, establish a business committee or like an economic development committee that can review files with us. So if a proposal comes into town, these business folks and economically minded folks more than myself, that's not my strong suit. I need to listen to somebody when it comes to that, is bring them into the table and say, what do you think this is for our town and our region? Do you see any negatives from it? And do you see any positives? And we start making decisions based off of data and realism instead of just fictitious ideas in our head.
I know you touched on some of the things throughout the town when you talked about the fire department and the recreation and water and sewer and whatnot. How do you think the town should prioritize community and economic development and municipal infrastructure?
Well, first, we have to take care of the basic necessities of life. So our job as a municipality is water, sewer, roads, recreation. Once we take care of the 4 of those, when there's money left over, we prioritize projects. We see what we can do. When we look at recreations right now, we have failing infrastructure behind the swimming pool of an aging playground that is falling apart, that now has a close notice on it. That's something we need to commit to, whether there's a brand new, beautiful playground down in Blanchbrook Park or not. You still have kids that need to travel a longer distance now to get there when we do have a nice spot behind the swimming pool. Our recreational infrastructure is aging. Our water system is aging. Our sewer is aging. I mean, we just had beautiful redevelopment of Main Street. Perfect. We need more of that. So I think our priority needs to go there while also taking care of families. So the one thing you hear time and time and time again is, why can't we have a splash pad? I ask the same question. If any other municipality can do it, let's do it. Let's try to get some funding in place, and that falls under a recreational side. But first and foremost, it's about public safety, and the basic necessities of life is our water and sewer.
Excellent. housing seems to be an issue everywhere, right across the country. Do you think that Stephenville needs more housing options? And if so, how do you think the town should address that?
We certainly need more housing. I mean, I'm not going to say fortunate, because we're not fortunate in the way of we are seeing an increase in couch surfers. When I went to Fort McMurray, it was the first time I ever seen someone live on the street, and it was the middle of winter, and it totally terrified me and changed my perspective on everything. Here, just because we don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and we are seeing it more and more every day. Mm-hmm. I've always been a fan of we create opportunity, we don't take the opportunity for ourselves. So as a town, if we say we have a housing crisis, we put incentives in place for developers to do something about it, because we can't manage everything from here. But if we have land readily available that we don't need for bigger projects or infrastructure, let's put it up. And if it has to be sold below market price, we ask for permission if you still need permission. I think in the new Municipalities Act, you might not need ministerial approval anymore, but create opportunity for development. We can have bylaws and parameters that say this land needs to be used for lower income. This could be middle class. This could be upper class. I'm not a fan of us building it ourselves and trying to do rent control and all this, because we do not have the resources to do that. But I think if we create opportunity for developers, we could set the precedent here and change things in a positive manner.
That's great. And how would you ensure transparency for the town?
Whatever can be said and whatever can be done, put it out there. I mean, a lot of municipalities in this province, and I mean, when I was on council, I won't speak for when I left, we were guilty of the minimum standard of transparency means we're transparent. I don't agree with that. That it was always, we know what the agenda is going to be 24 to 48 hours prior to. Put it online. Here's what we're going to talk about this week. There's always deletions, there's always additions, there's always corrections. At the start of the meeting, you can announce those things. I mean, all our meetings are live streamed. That could be the first thing that's on the screen. Item A is deleted. We've added item C. We've corrected this one. Complete total transparency. Accounts payable could be online. Everything can be up in quick time. And just don't be afraid to talk to residents. The residents are not the enemy here. They might not be happy, but they'd rather hear no than nothing. They'd rather hear, I don't know, but I'll find out, than nothing. They're not our enemy. They're the people we're here that we will be elected to represent.
Thank you. And I just have one more question for you. Sure. And if there's anything you want to add or not, you can. But if you could just give us a summary of why people should vote for you, what would you say to the residents as to why you're a good choice as a councillor?
To say I love this town sounds cliche, but I do. And I want families to succeed here. And I don't want families to have to continue to watch their loved ones go away, either on rotation or move away and not come back. I want to bring you home if I can, and I want to sit around this table to make sure that any family that wants to live in Stephenville can stay in Stephenville.
Excellent. I appreciate your coming in today, Lenny, and putting your heart out there and giving us all the information and all the answers to all the questions that we posed to you. So thank you very much, and we want to wish you the best of luck in the upcoming municipal election.
Thank you, Marilee. The pleasure has been all mine.
Thank you. So that concludes this episode of Town Talk. Thank you very much to Lenny Tiller, candidate running for councillor in the upcoming municipal election, joining us here in the chamber today. And tune in for another edition of Town Talk.